Gentlemen, how are we feeling today?
Ready to roll.
Ready for war.
I know I feel really, really good. So let me get the links out to all of our happy viewers. We're going to make everybody some money today. And as soon as the link is out for everyone to enjoy, we're going to get freaking rocking and rolling here. All right. What do you guys, what's your temperature? How are we feeling?
I'm cozy. I'm settled in. I'm settled in and ready to go.
I feel really good. I feel really confident about a couple games today. All right. The live stream is up and it is stuck. All right. Everybody, welcome to Take Your Pick, week 18. A very interesting slate. Me and the boys, Rob, Sean, we found a lot to nibble at. First and foremost, actually, let me say something to the great state of New York. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. I'm happy for you guys. Everybody up there knows I'm thorough in all 5 boroughs, so holler at us. We'll make you guys some money on your opening weekend. I'm going to throw a quick Birds recap out, and this is going to be quick, brief. There's not much to touch on. I'm going to throw it out to Sean. Walk me through what your takeaway was from that game.
There was definitely some positives. It was good to see Devontae get the record, Deshaun's receiving rookie record. I thought Gardner Minshew was Gardner Minshew. He played as well as you can expect him to play with backups all around him. And the offensive line, again, even the backup offensive line. I mean, Stoutland deserves some type of award for getting these boys ready every single week.
Yeah, I don't think he's been getting enough credit actually throughout the whole course of the year. Rob, do you have anything you want to touch on with the Birds game? Or
no, I mean, I echo Sean. It was nice for Devontae to take that rookie record from Deshaun. I thought that was a nice pickup from him. I think Jason Kelce has more than earned the respect and is deserving of getting out there, rolling out there for one snap to keep that Iron Man streak going. So we're happy for Kelce as well to get that. Otherwise, the Birds, were willing to exchange, treating this like a preseason game, resting the starters for the playoffs for, essentially a Dallas lapping of the second string. I thought the second string hung in there tough in the first half. They put up a good fight. There were some bright spots. Gardner Minshew being, somewhat average is okay because that's really what we would expect from him in this spot. But I also thought Gainwell had a really nice game. And I think it was on him to step up and have a good game to maybe get a couple looks in the playoffs. Especially where, the availability of Sanders, we're still not sure how that's going to shake out with his hand injury. Boston Scott, Jordan Howard are in the mix as well. But it's nice to see Gainwell show some promise and maybe get a couple looks towards the playoffs as well. But with that being said, if that's how the Eagles want to treat that game, that's a smart way to go about it. Can't say I disagree with it. But now we look towards the playoffs, and they're going to have to be ready to go in a couple, next week against whoever they face, and we'll find out today.
Yeah, I'm done talking about that game. I've nothing to say. I don't think anybody wants to talk about that game. They played football last night. That's all we're going to talk about. So let's break it down. We're going to feed you a 3-course meal today. We have a few appetizers in the 1 o'clocks that we're going to nibble at. I think we all found something on the menu that we like in the ones. And then we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of today. And that's all the 4 o'clock slate. And between all 3 of us, we have plays on pretty much every 4 o'clock game. First, I want to start off with the clown game. And there's something to be said about your entire fan base dressing up as clowns to go to your last game of the season. That's crazy. I think that they should do that to the Giants, not the Jags, but whatever, it's happening. And since everybody is treating it like the Jags are clowns, the Jags are going to cover this football game. The Jags team's going to play with heart. They're going to play tough. And I think the Colts are going to have a relatively tough time getting through this one. but I don't trust the Jags enough to put my hard-earned money on them today.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, Mike. I mean, Indy's getting a lot of love today. They're getting 97% of the money on 61% of the tickets. So I do think it's a good spot to maybe fade that money and go against that. I like Jacksonville. I like Jacksonville at 14 and a half. I think shop around, see what number you can get. But over 2 touchdowns, I really do like Jacksonville to cover that game. But I'm really looking to make this game a little bit interesting by way of player props. Indy coming in with the number 1 ranked offense in DVOA rushing offense up against Jacksonville's 21. So I'm really looking to see Indianapolis to earn their way into the playoffs by using their bread and butter, and that's the run game. So specifically, I'm looking at Nyheim Hines to sneak in the end zone at plus 290, plus 275, between plus 275 and plus 290, depending on where you're shopping around. I got it at plus 290. I also think Jonathan Taylor gets his as well. So I'm not afraid of parlaying those, comboing both running backs for Indianapolis to get in the end zone at plus 400, Taylor and Hines.
I like that. Let's move on from the clown game. I'm going to put on my Sirianni visor thinking cap for this next game. The visors are back this summer, ladies.
Looking good.
My first official play of today is the Washington football team, -7 versus the Giants. And I'll tell you why. Taylor Heineke's playing for a starting spot next year. Ron Rivera is a much better football coach than Joe Judge. That's a fact. So you have a heartless Giants team that wants the season to end. The football team's kind of in the same spot, but they're a better team. They have a better culture. They have a better coach, and they have a better quarterback. So I'm taking all those into consideration, and I'm laying the 7 with the Giants, or with the football team. I'm sorry. I don't think that either one of you want to even talk about that one. So let's move on to Vikings-Bears, where we all have a say in this. And I'm going to throw it right to you, Sean.
Yeah, this is a game that the Vikings are built for. This is a game that they love, a game that doesn't matter at all. I mean, this is where Kirk Cousins shines. Mike Zimmer, the report came out this morning that he's coaching for his job. He's most likely done. So, I mean, he's looking for another job after this. I think that team does respect him. I think he is, regardless of how Mike might feel about Mike Zimmer, I think his team respects him. And I think they'll play today for him. I definitely lean to the Vikings -4 here.
So my issue is I agree with everything you're saying. They're going to look their best today when it doesn't matter. Because when it doesn't matter, the Vikings have proven time and time again, they're great when
no pressure.
Nobody's paying attention to them. They have one of the better rosters in the NFL. But my issue with this game is, are they going to try and get rid of Mike Zimmer, or are they keeping him? I think they're going to keep him for another year. I think they're going to run it back and stay at mediocrity. And I think they're going to beat the Bears into submission today. Rob, I know you have a say in this one. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a Kirk Cousins game, right? The game doesn't matter, for either team, of course. But, I think this is a spot for Kirk Cousins to pad those stats and to look like that, statistical quarterback god that he is, right, without having to win, a meaningful game today. A lot of love on the Vikings as well. I think there's an alignment here on the Vikings in terms of Joes and Sharps. 73% of the tickets, 82% of the money. There's been a few moves triggered on the Bears, but I just don't see it today for the Bears. I think the Bears are going to have a really hard time against the Vikings offense, the Vikings defense. Andy Dalton coming in, it would have been a lot more entertaining, I think, to see Fields and Cousins go at it today. But with Dalton in, the Bears coming in at the 25th ranked offense against the Vikings defense that's ranked 17th, relatively middle of the pack. But I think they're going to struggle against this Vikings D to move the ball in Minnesota. Vikings offense, I think, is going to find their way against the Bears defense as well, particularly, perhaps in the run game. Dalvin Cook going today, Mattinson. I think they can get it going, even though the Vikings rushing offense has been, more in the lower third of the league this year. They're ranked 27th in DVOA. Bears rushing defense isn't great as well, ranked 23rd. So I can see them maybe get the game going on the ground at first, and look for Cousins to make some plays with it to his playmakers, Jefferson, Osborne today. I like the Vikings in a classic Vikings game, laying the 4 points.
Yeah, we all like the Vikings in this spot. This is a great spot for them. Vikings laying 4 to the Bears. That's an official play for all three of us, which is a first. So really pulling for the Vikings today. All right, moving on. The Titans are playing for a first-round bye against the Texans. Nobody cares about this game. I don't care about this game. The ball's going to be on the ground 80% of this game. It's going to be ugly. The Titans are going to squeak it out. I lean Texans plus 10.5, but I'm not putting my money on it, and I don't think we even need to take time talking about it. We're just going to move on to a big division rivalry, and it does have some playoff implications. That's Steelers and Ravens. Rob, I know you have a couple plays on this one. Walk us through it.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting one because the line opened at 6 points and it's down now to 3.5 in favor of Baltimore. 3 at some spots, depending on where you're shopping around. On the spread, I think this is a potential buyback option on the Ravens. I'm not sure. I understand that these games do play pretty close, these rivalry games. Saw earlier in the week that when there's a spread of 3 or more in this game, this rivalry game, the underdog is 17-2 against the spread. So these do tend to get pretty close. With that being said, I still think this is a potential spot for the Ravens to cover here, even with Huntley playing instead of Jackson. Right now, Ravens getting 39% of the tickets, 41% of the love, not a huge spread there. Again, I think this is I'm seeing some sharp movement on the Steelers, have seen it all week, but I'm not sure if there's any juice left on the Steelers here. I think it might be a spot to buy back on the Ravens, but ultimately the spreads stay away from here for me here. The under getting a lot of love. Got some defensive talent here on the Steelers side that could limit Huntley and the Ravens. TJ Watt going for the sack record today. Under getting 52% of the tickets on nearly 98% of the love. Just a lot of love for the under at 41 here. I'm looking to target another player prop in this one. Mark Andrews is going for the all-time tight end single season receiving record today. I like Andrews to hit his prop today, which I have right now at 66.5 yards. He's hit this in the last 4 games. He hasn't dropped off with Huntley starting at quarterback. We talked about earlier in the last week and in previous pods how young quarterbacks and experienced quarterbacks, guys like Huntley, look to their tight ends, and particularly a stud like Andrews to rely on as a blanket, comfort blanket for them, and especially in these types of games. I still see Andrews being able to get open against Pittsburgh and get his. So I'm okay with playing the 66.5 with him going for that record today.
Yeah, I really like the Mark Andrews play. That's really the only thing I am playing on this game. And the only reason I'm doing it is because he's going for the record. He's so talented. The backup quarterback loves him. But besides that, it's another game I don't care about. I think we've touched on that one enough. So I consider this one still an appetizer. It's New Orleans and Atlanta. This just doesn't excite me at all. It has major playoff implications. Like the Saints need to win. It's a division rival. I only lean Atlanta, but besides that, I don't have a say in it. I know, Rob, you had another lean in that. Sean, I know you didn't really want to touch on that. Is there anything you wanted to add to it, either one of you?
Not much for me. It's a lean for me on Atlanta. I'm seeing some love on Atlanta too, with some sharp picks there. This is a contrarian play on Atlanta too. New Orleans obviously needs to win and get some help from the Rams as well. 41% of the tickets coming in on New Orleans, but 96% of the money. A lot of money on New Orleans, so I think this is a spot to potentially fade the money. So I do lean the Falcons here with the 3.5. I know it was a bit higher earlier in the week, so I'm not sure if there's enough value there. But at the end of the day, it's only a lean for me on the Falcons. Again, picking up with our theme today of players going for some incentives and records. I've seen some action on the Pitts over at 68.5. He's targeting Mike Ditka's rookie tight end record, receiving record here as well today. So I think there's been some action there. With this game, the way I see this game playing out and how the New Orleans defense has played in recent weeks, must-win game for them. I'm a little hesitant on that prop. I think it's a little too high. So ultimately, I'm shying away there. But it is worth taking a look at, I think. And otherwise, a game where really it just seems like we have a couple leans on.
Yeah, we've talked about that one far too much. I'm done with that. So we're gonna get into the main course here, and we're gonna add a lot of flavor for you. So, Sean, I'm gonna pass this one to you. I know this is your favorite. So New England playing Miami, New England laying 7. Walk me through why you love them.
Yeah, this is just this is my favorite play of the day. This is just a tale of two teams heading in different directions to end the year. Miami's coming off a playoff crushing, season crushing loss last week to Tennessee, and New England's trying to get their mojo back, right? Everyone was loving them. They were one of the favorites to win the AFC when the Chiefs were going through their whole mess, and people started choosing them as the dark horse that they loved. And I think Bill's going to have the guys ready today. Coming down to Miami, they've lost the last, I want to say 2 in Miami outright. They lost this year. It's a revenge game from this year that they lost week 1 earlier in the season, a game they probably should have won when Davis Harris fumbled that last possession.
Yeah.
And I think New England just has way more to play for today. I really don't expect Miami to show up too confident today.
Yeah, I really like Brian Flores as a coach.
So do I.
Do. But they had a great run. Season's over for them. I don't know how inspired they're going to be. And I think New England's due to get one in Miami. So I'm with you on that one. That's a great play in the spot. It's a tough number. But if there's anybody I trust to cover bad numbers, that's Bill. He does it for us all the time. Him and Nick Saban, they love doing it. All right. Moving on to an NFC West rivalry here. This one is possibly my favorite play of the day, and that's Seattle playing Arizona, getting 5.5 points. I love Seattle in this spot, and I'm just going to give you a quick reason why, and it's because Arizona beat Dallas in Dallas, America's darling football team. They looked really good last week. I think Seattle is going to play their best game of the year right now when it doesn't matter for them. It could be a last hurrah game for Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson in Seattle. You could be seeing the end of a regime possibly. That is my official play. I'm going to take the points, but I do also lean for them to win that football game. Do you guys have any counter arguments, or do you have any agreements with me, or do you just not?
I lean with Seattle, but I mean, pretty much you covered everything that I thought.
Rob, how do you feel about that one?
Yeah, I'm with you both. It's a lean for me on Seattle. I'm actually closer to making it a play as well, 5.5. I like the idea of also teasing Seattle and some teasers today as well. I think they're a good teaser spot. It's an interesting number, 5.5, on whether the teasing over to 11.5, 12, whether that makes a whole lot of sense. But if you're throwing in an exotic teaser and want to get some alternates out there, then I think Seattle's a good spot there. I like DK Metcalf today. It looks like him and Wilson are finally getting that connection back after last week playing against Detroit. I was surprised to look up that DK actually has 12 touchdowns this year. It seems like in a year where him and Wilson have been off, that he has as many touchdowns as he has this year. So I'm looking to go with DK's over 55.5 yards. Paying a little bit of a premium there at minus 130. I know he's gunning for 1,000 yards, today as well. Again, we're looking at guys looking to make some milestones, contract incentives, records today on their props on this 18th week. So I do like DK to go over 55.5. I mean, I don't see any other reason for Seattle to be playing this game other than to kind of go off on the right note with Wilson and that offense with the way it struggled this year. So again, it's a lean for me, but I'm backing DK in this one.
Okay, I like that. I like that angle. Also, I had no idea he'd scored that many touchdowns this year.
That was surprising. Yeah.
That surprised me too.
That's a quiet 12. People are giving him such a hard time. 12 is a lot of touchdowns. I don't care who it is. All right. This is the big one. And I think this is going to be the best game of the day. And I know we have a lot to touch on with this one. So I'm glad we kind of got through the rest of it quickly. So we have 2 NFC West teams, one playing to win the division, and the other one playing to stay in the playoffs. I know we disagree, so I'm going to let you guys take the floor first. Sean, walk me through why you like San Fran today.
Yeah, this is a strong lean for me, and it's really about past games. Kyle Shanahan has owned Sean McVay in this matchup, and the Rams haven't traveled, or the Rams haven't played well at home against San Francisco. They've shown an ability to be run on, which is really all San Francisco is looking to do. And that's why it would be a lean for me.
Okay. Rob, why is San Fran official play for you?
Yeah, I think these are just two teams that are actually more evenly matched than we may think. And at the same time, as it stands today, I think they're just going in different directions. Again, this is a situation where you had an opening line of 6 points in favor of, the Rams giving 6, now down to 3.5. So you've seen a ton of movement come in on San Francisco. Yeah, I would love to sit here and say that I locked it in at 4.5, but I didn't. I would lock it in, and I will lock it in at 3.5 and on the money line as well for San Fran, just because of the way that these teams are matching up. It's a must-win for San Francisco, and just the overall direction of where these teams are headed, right? I think this is a classic fade spot for Stafford. His numbers are not great straight up or against the spread, as a favorite. So I think it's a good spot to fade Stafford, especially where he's thrown 6 picks in his last 3 games, has been playing well. We haven't been able to cash on that on some of our plays in recent weeks, but I think we can take advantage of it here today. This 49ers offense, it stacks up against this Rams defense. It's very good, but they're both ranked 5th overall in DVOA each. I think it's strength for strength there. So I think you can see, it's a good matchup on that side of the ball. And then on the other side of the ball, I'm giving the Rams offense only a slight edge over the Niners D. So I think that, possibly looking at targeting the total here. I see a lot of money on the over about 99, nearly all the money coming in on the over on 78% of the tickets. This could be a spot where, this divisional battle, winning in for San Fran, this has a playoff feel to it, maybe could tend to go under the 44.5. So that's a lean for me, but I do like the 49ers in this spot. I like fading Stafford here, and that's why it's official play for me.
Okay, I'm going to tell you why I totally disagree with both of you. So Matt Stafford's thrown for multiple interceptions the last 2 weeks, and the Rams have still found a way to win. And it appears to me that the general public is selling the Rams. They were one of the front runners going into the year. They've had 2 bad games, but still found a way to win against tough teams the last 2 weeks. So if Matt Stafford's able to take care of the ball and play like he was in the middle of the season, I think that Sean McVay is going to get this team rolling into the playoffs, and I think they're going to give somebody hell next week. I think that the Rams are going to beat them. I'm afraid to even tease the Niners. I think the Rams are going to run up a tab on them. I think Cooper Kupp is going to break the record. I think OBJ is going to have a good day. I don't think they're really going to be too worried about the Niners D-line. The Rams are one of my favorite plays, especially in this spot. Everybody seems to be really high on the Niners and down on the Rams. So the more pressure is on the Niners today. And I think a cool, calm, collected Rams team. You want to win the division. You want that first round home game, but they're already in. So they're not as concerned. I think they're just more focused on getting their division rival out. So you put all the pressure on the Niners to not make mistakes. And is Trey Lance starting? Is that official? Trey Lance is starting?
I believe Jimmy Garoppolo is.
Is he? I like that even better. Give me Jimmy Garoppolo with a bum throwing hand versus Matt Stafford and Sean McVay. I'm taking Rams minus 3.5 today. That's going to be an official play for me.
The money loves it too, Mike. I mean, they're only generating 41% of the tickets, but 92% of the money is coming in on the Rams. So a lot of big money coming on the Rams.
Your big money coming in, that'll balance itself out later, closer to kickoff. I don't like that much money is on the Rams. I always hate seeing that. But I'm hoping that the general public, because the general public's more focused on the 1 o'clocks right now, you'll start seeing the 4 o'clock tickets coming in for the general public around 3:30, once they start chasing their tails. And I think the Niners are going to be a team that they see to chase tails. Yeah, the Rams are an official play for me. I think they eliminate the Niners if the Saints are able to win as well.
Do you have an opinion on the total? Because I do lean under with Rob.
I kind of think this one's high scoring.
Yeah.
I think the Rams are going to put up a lot of points. And I think you're going to see that offense looking the way it should today. Barring any issue, if Matt Stafford's able to take care of the football, I can't see the Niners hanging with them. That's just my opinion. So take it with a grain of salt. I respect you both as sports bettors, so I don't disagree with a lot of your points, but I'm just on the other side on this one.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that at all.
I'm going to hedge those Niners too, Mike. I totally agree with Cooper Kupp. I have Cooper Kupp locked in at 116, over 116 and a half. He needs 136 to break the all-time single-season record set by Calvin Johnson. I think he could hit this prop. I think it's also kind of a good way of hedging that Niners play a little bit, somewhat. So I'm looking for Cooper Kupp to go off today. I'll back him to go after that record and hit that 116 and a half mark as well.
Man, that's a lot of yards.
Yeah,
That's a bad dude. That's a bad dude. If that's the number that they're putting out for him to hit is 116, that's a bad dude.
Also, a side note on DraftKings, they do have a bunch of these, like the players that need to get X amount of yards. They do have them to the yard plus money on DraftKings if you're in a legal state. Like they have
Really?
Cooper Kupp over 135 and a half plus 160 if you're looking for him to get the record. And there's a couple of those out there on DraftKings.
I'm definitely going to take a look at that. That's a good note. So they have everybody that's going for records today. They have everything right there.
At least the main guys I see.
Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know. I'm definitely going to touch on that later. So the night game. This is a tough one. And I'm going to need some help from both of you on this. Rob, walk me through quickly your take on this Chargers-Raiders football game.
Yeah, this is my favorite game of the week. I mean, I don't think that comes as any shock. I think it's a win and in playoff game for each, right? So it is the biggest game of the week as well. A couple of my favorite plays are on this game as well. I really like the Chargers only giving a field goal in Las Vegas. Chargers collected 53% of the tickets, but 76% of the money. There's been a lot of moves triggered on the Chargers throughout the week as well. I think it's a sharp play here for the Chargers for the simple fact that they're just a better team than the Raiders at this point. I just think this Chargers offense is a severe mismatch for the Raiders defense. Their offense coming in ranked third across the league in DVOA. Raiders ranked 23rd. With that being said, I think the Raiders' rush defense could, match up against the Chargers' offense. They haven't been running the ball as well, but it's for those reasons that I'm looking to see this game possibly turn into a shootout as well. So I'm also targeting the over at 48.5, up to 49.5 right now. Looking at 69% of the 89% of the money on that over as well. So I see a shootout here tonight. And I also see, again, Chargers just being the better team and needing this one to get in. I like them laying the field goal in Las Vegas. This Raiders offense, they can match up with the Chargers defense. The Chargers defense hasn't been, particularly strong throughout the year, and the Raiders are playing well right now. Derek Carr is slinging that rock pretty well. We saw that last week against Indianapolis. So I like some points here. But at the end of the day, I'm giving the edge to Herbert and that offense with the Chargers to cover the spread. And again, I'm looking at that over total as well.
Sean, question for you. Do you think the fearlessness of Derek Carr in this situation versus the inexperience of Justin Herbert, who do you think wins that matchup today?
I want to lean to the Chargers here, but what you're saying, like Derek Carr is my kryptonite as a sports bettor. I can't win against that man. I think that team stinks. I said it last week, and they just find ways to win against teams.
They do.
The Chargers should win here. It's not a play for me because the Raiders are my kryptonite. But I mean, I do think Derek Carr could be dangerous today. Too much experience. He's been in these type of moments before.
I think the thing that worries me most is people are expecting the Chargers to be in the playoffs, and the Raiders are really happy to be in this situation. So people are expecting them to lose. So dangerous man is the one that has nothing to lose, especially in a win and in football game. I'm a little worried about that. I think Derek Carr is going to have a really good night tonight. But if Justin Herbert with those weapons is able to go step for step with him, Derek Carr just doesn't have the ponies to run with the Chargers. I think this one's going to come down to if Justin Herbert's able to take care of the football again, just like Matt Stafford, they win the football game. If he doesn't make mistakes in the red zone like he tends to do in tight ones, he tends to force it in the red zone. If he doesn't do that and they just take the points, I think that the Chargers should win. But I'm indifferent on this one at the moment. I lean Chargers just on paper. The team's better. But that Raiders team, everything they've overcome this year and the fact that they're sitting in this spot makes me really nervous to bet the Chargers on this game. That's my stance on it. I lean Chargers. I'm sure come 8 o'clock, I'm going to have an official play on it. So follow us on Twitter at Take Your Pick. And all our official plays for today will be on there. And whatever we come up with throughout the day will be out there. Is there anything either one of you wanted to add about that night game?
No, that covers it for me. I mean, I'm looking forward to that one. I think that's the main. You talk about the main course. That's the main course for me tonight. I think that's a game winning
between the Rams and the Niners and that night game. We have some good football today. But for anybody that made it to this point, made it through the appetizers, made it through the main course, we have some dessert for you. And these are some fun alternate line parlays. These are some fun player prop parlays. I'm going to start off with, so I have, this is a long shot, 7-leg alternate line parlay. So what I did, I teased the Falcons up, teased the Bucks down, Niners up, Seahawks up, Patriots down, Titans down, and Colts down. So a lot of games that I see those teams winning, I teased the spread's either up or down. I think the Colts win. I think the Titans win. I think the Pats win. I think the Falcons keep that one close. That's why I took the points there. I mean, I really like Seattle today as well, so I'm going to take them to 2 scores, lose by 2 scores. And the Bucks just have to win by a field goal. I love them in that spot. And that I got at plus 700. So not a bad number. You don't have to throw a lot on it, and you don't have to throw anything on it because I hit one of these last week, so there's no chance this is happening again twice. Lightning doesn't strike twice. That's a fun one that I have today. I know, Rob, you had a nice little player prop parlay for the Jags game. If you want to touch on that one more time for the people that are just joining us.
Yeah, I like the Colts to win this game. You know, they need to win it in. I don't think there's any question that they win the game. Whether or not they cover that spread, that's more of a lean for me. And I know we touched on the Jags, but I like the Colts to get it done on the ground today. I like the value with Nyheim Hines at 2.9 in the end zone. And I'm also going to pair him with Taylor to get both running backs on Indianapolis in the end zone at plus 400. So I do like that. Touched on a couple other props as well. The Cup over, the Andrews over, the DK over. I like all of those as well. Got a couple of other exotics as well. You know, of course, you know, in the interest of full disclosure, we've done this enough to know that parlays, teasers, they're not great money makers. They're not sustainable over the long run, but we like to have fun here. So that's what it's about.
We do.
I'm calling this my win and in or bye week parlay. So I'm taking the Colts to win, the Titans to win, the Niners to win, and the Chargers to win at plus 455. Taking a look at their win probabilities across the board, I feel pretty good about that one. Of course, the moneymaker here is going to be that the Niners overcoming the Rams. So I think that's our longest shot on this one. But just the way that we see some of these games playing out, I think that's worth a look there on that money line parlay. I also like the teaser that you threw out, Mike. I have one just on Atlanta and San Francisco alone, each getting 10 points. Putting a little bit of a premium up at minus 122 there, but I like both of those games to be closer than 10 points, so I have that up there as well.
Sean, is there anything elaborate as far as what you were seeing with those record breakers that you like today?
I didn't dive too much into them. I know TJ Watt has over 1.5 sacks minus 130. That could be worth a look. It's not something I'm playing, but I know it definitely is. Absolutely. But I'm not playing any of these. I was just throwing it out there for anybody that
I'm leaning the
Has
Cooper
DraftKings.
Cup one. I like that one. I like Mark Andrews to get it today. Actually, Mark Andrews is probably my favorite one because it's a reasonable number. The quarterback loves him. And has he kind of brought himself? Is he right now the best tight end in the NFL? You could definitely make an argument for it.
There's an argument to be made.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
There's
make
an
it.
argument for sure. And I think that's something we're going to have to talk about once the season's finished. I don't have anything else that I really wanted to dive into on this one, boys. I feel really good about this slate. I love the Vikings that we talked about. I love Washington today. And that's another team you could tease down for sure. I like them to win. Yeah, boys. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think that's good. I think you sold me a bit on Washington. I'm seeing that down to 6. Speaking of 6, I also see New England down to 6 as well. I like what you guys are putting out on those two. The idea of teasing both those teams down to about a point, maybe even a pick 'em, I don't mind that as well. We're throwing that in with some of the other teams that we like. So I think that's a good thought as well. Those player props are interesting this week with the incentives, the records, etc. There's a few others out there, like the ones that Sean was mentioning. I know Marvin Jones needs to get 4 catches for some contracts incentives today, and in a meaningless game, I can't help but think that the rookie's going to target the veteran to get his. But there's a pretty pricey premium on that, over 3.5 for Jones. So I guess it depends on how much you're willing to give up there. Stephon Diggs is in a similar situation with over 5.5 receptions. I think that's up to 6.5 at a lot of books, and even a little bit of a premium there still. So I don't know how much further over he goes for those 6 receptions. Just given where that game is, how that game shakes out, and how much the Bills are playing that game into the second half. But I think there's a lot to love on this board. I think we ran through a great chunk of it, especially the meat of it, and looking forward to it this afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. And everybody wager responsibly and enjoy week 18. Boys, I think that's it. Not bad. We got a lot of plays out there. Follow us on Twitter. We'll get everything out for you, all the official plays. Tail, fade, do whatever you want to do. I don't really care because we're going to make money regardless with or without you. So get on the gravy train. You feel me? All right, everybody. You have yourselves a nice NFL Week 18. Signing off.